And that's another thing I want to tell you guys. Life lesson. Do not make big relationship decisions, big life decisions when you're not in a good place. Friends, Bryan here, out for another walk, enjoying the beautiful scenery. In my viral video, I mentioned briefly in passing that I was in a relationship with someone who had borderline personality disorder. Now, we have to make a distinction here between borderline personality disorder, BPD. It gets confused often with bipolar disorder, which is a mood disorder. Two very different things. Borderline personality disorder is a very serious personality disorder. I come before you humbly and say, I wasn't just in one, I was in two BPD relationships. For anyone who's been there, you know what I'm talking about. I know there's going to be some people with borderline probably commenting and arguing in the comments, but hey man, I'm sorry, that's a tough life that you have. These are my experiences. This is my channel. This is the life of Bryan. So, I take responsibility for all my bad decisions in life. I was a dumbass who made them. I didn't know any better. But now, I can, at the very least, I can pass on the lessons that I learned the hard way to some of you out there, so you don't find yourself in those less than ideal situations. So, I am going to give you my top red flags for borderline personality disorder that you should watch out for when you're dating. Number one, there is something called love bombing. Love bombing, at the beginning of a relationship, when you start dating someone, things are nice. Things are nice. There's nice feelings. People are doing nice things. You're spending nice time together. Love bombing is something completely different, on a completely different level. Love bombing is just the over-the-top niceties, the gifts, the affection, the nice comments. It's just crazy. It's the craziest thing. And often people will say, when people are in those relationships, why don't they just get out of them? Well, it's not that simple. It's not just, where you just get up one morning and say, hey, we tried, it didn't work, I gotta go. And you shake hands and that's it. I think part of what keeps people in those relationships a lot longer is that you're hoping that that really nice person in the beginning will come back, because that's who you thought you were getting into a relationship with. But oh my gosh, things really change. Number two, they start telling you really inappropriate things really quickly. It could be something like abuse at the hands of a relative that they suffered when they were a child. Something really odd. And they're sharing that with you like on your first date. And, you're trying to be nice and polite and you want to believe in the best of people. So you're kind of like, it's a little weird that she's telling me this, but okay. It's just weird. You're kind of like, wow, like we're on our first date and you're telling me these weird things that your uncle did to you when you were a kid. It's a little weird. Number three, often they really won't have any close family or friends. Now, I'm the guy that likes to avoid people. So I get that to a point. But then with this situation, it's usually they're not speaking to most, if not all, family, and they don't really have any close friends. All stories about their exes will be tales of the most horrid abuse that you can imagine. You're not going to hear too many comments from them about how good their exes were. And they tell you this to test you as a man, to test your protective instincts, to test your sense of chivalry. I've had friends, since I've gotten out of those relationships, who are in those relationships, and you try and talk to them. I remember one friend, he was like dating a woman who had BPD, and within a month, he was actually going to go over to her exes to confront him and beat him up. And I said, dude, bro, there's two sides to every story, man. I'd hold off on that. As soon as the police get involved, and lawyers especially, you're not going to win, no matter what. In the love bombing stage, even though there's a lot of niceties going on, there's always an underlying pressure that will be applied. Well, when do you think we'll live together? When do you think this? When do you think that? Friends, let me tell you, when you start dating somebody, pressure is not a good thing. For me, after that, pressure is something I'm like, yeah, no, not going to happen. Not to this guy. And that's another thing I want to tell you guys. Life lesson. Do not make big relationship decisions, big life decisions when you're not in a good place. I know for the times that I got involved in these situations, I wasn't in a good place. I still take responsibility for my bad choices, But I wasn't in a good place. I wasn't in a good place to make these kind of big decisions and caving to the pressure. Triangulation. Triangulation is a term used often for cluster B personality types, which borderline personality disorder is. It's in there with narcissistic personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder. But triangulation, they have a different definition for it. People that work with those disorders. My definition is triangulation. It's when they bring a third party in and they're always trying to get a reaction out of you, always trying to make you jealous. It might be a friend, an acquaintance. They always try to bring in another person into the picture. Now, I know some people out there with BPD will be arguing with me saying, no, it's da-da-da. Hey, I've seen this in two completely separate situations, and the patterns were so similar, it was scary. But triangulation, when they're always trying to make you jealous, they're bringing another person into the mix. If you're in a relationship and you think that the person might have BPD, and you're like going, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. Really simple. Is there a lot of drama? Is there a lot of tension all the time? Did you find that once you gave them the commitment they were looking for, whether you moved in with them or whatever it was, there was a complete 180 in their personality? That nice person who treated you so nice to suck you in is gone? Do the, what I call the TV test. Say to them, hey, let's pick a nice movie and let's just sit down and relax and watch it. Can you watch a whole movie with them and just sit and relax? Probably not. For the people out there who've been in those types of relationships, I know you get what I'm talking about. And the last thing I'm going to say is that if she happens to have kids and the baby daddy has nothing to do with her and the kids, it might be, now, there's a lot of bad dads out there who don't care about their kids, and the baby mama doesn't have a personality disorder. But maybe the baby daddy in this situation just can't deal with her crazy anymore. Friends, talking about personality disorders is big on YouTube now. A lot of people know about them more than even just a few years ago. It's a hot topic on YouTube for people that have been in those relationships where they're like, it's like you're in a time warp. You're just like, what was that? What the hell is it? For anyone recovering from that, all that BS is far in my rear view mirror. I would tell you it takes time for your brain to unscramble. Get some therapy if you need. Reflect on what was wrong with you to get into that situation. Probably you're a nice person and you just succumbed to the pressure of living, the commitment they wanted, living together, financial, whatever it was. I know that there was a couple of YouTube channels that helped me years back, understanding and dealing with what happened, but then move on. Don't dwell on it. Sometimes when I see some of these channels where that's all they talk about and people just relive all that for years and years and years, it gets to a point where you're like, yeah, it was bad. I went through it. What did I learn from it? Maybe I can help a few people, but I got to move on, man. Life's precious, and it is what it is. I was a dumbass. Not anymore. Another reason why I avoid people. I hope that helps. What do you guys think? Have you been in a BPD relationship? Let me know. Comment below. This is Bryan, signing off.